Hey there, welcome or welcome back to Pop Divert. Today we're doing our first official episode of our Film Fridays, where I unpack some of the greatest films that we had in the African continent. And yeah, so I saw that you guys loved the video I did a couple of years ago on the film Tsotsi. And so I thought, you know what? Why not give people what they want? Okay? So today we're talking about Queen Sono, the first script to screen original production from Africa. Created by a comedian and director, Kagiso Lediga, this series wasn't just a show, it was a statement that Johannesburg's cityscapes could be as cinematic and vibrant as any Hollywood backdrop. If this piques your interest, then stay tuned and let's get into it. This series centers on the titular character, Queen Sono, played by the beautiful Pearl Thusi, known for her work in Quantico, as well as a lot of other South African productions such as Isidingo. Queen is a highly trained South African field agent for the Special Operations Group, or the SOG, a secret government agency tasked with protecting African citizens and fighting covert criminal operations. Joining Pearl Thusi is a talented supporting cast including Vuyo Dabula as Shandu, her love interest and former spy turned rebel leader. We also see Sichaba Morejele as Dr. Seed, the head of SOG, and Kate Licorice as the chilling Ekaterina Gromova, a Russian heiress and military contractor who serves as the primary antagonist. On the surface, it's an action-packed spy thriller, but beneath the gadgets and fistfights, the show is a deeply personal search for truths as Queen uncovers the conspiracy behind the assassination of her mother, Safia Sono, a radical anti-apartheid freedom fighter. So let's do a deep dive and let's talk about the three main themes that really stood out for me, like from the entire series. So what makes Queen Sono stand out is its decolonial approach, using the spy genre to explore the hidden skeletons of post-colonial Africa's closet. The series offers brutal critique of neocolonialism, the emerging African deep state, and we see this through Superior Solutions, a foreign private security firm that creates fake security threats to incite collective hysteria, allowing them to appear as saviors while furthering a neoliberal agenda to extract African wealth. The second theme that I identified is the critique towards internal corruption. So the show basically suggests that the failures of modern South Africa lie with former freedom fighters who, once they took power, betrayed their comrades and sold the country for personal gain. The plot reveals a massive scheme involving local elites, including South African president and business leaders like Nana, who ally with Western corporations to steal natural resources, further perpetuating the poverty and racism they once fought against. And the third theme is basically the show's critique or highlighting rather of the legacy of apartheid. Queen and Shandu, her boyfriend or love interest, embody the spirit of the Rainbow Nation, the first generation born free who are realizing that while the regime has ended, true freedom is still miles away. The show uses Safia Sono's memory to highlight the persistent traumas of a wounded country, where the state capture of the present is inextricably linked to betrayals of the past. So I highlighted these three themes because I feel like it is very important and it is one of the things, because I know like when watching the show, these three things can easily be shoved into the background because the show has a lot of, action. It is action packed, there's a lot of sensual scenes and all of that. So it's very easy for these three things to go unnoticed. And so I thought, why not just highlight, these things, because these are things that we can basically see happening in South Africa, and not just in South Africa, but in Africa as a whole. We know that we're currently in a state where we are all, as Africans in all our 52 countries, are realizing that the very people who were our freedom fighters are not really creating or giving us the freedom that we once thought we were going to have as Africa and as, Black natives of this continent. And so I think it was very important that this was highlighted. Okay. So despite this very important message linked to the show and the script and the storyline of this show, the show was not renewed. So I also wanted to talk about that. And so let's talk about it. Like, why was it not renewed? That is the big question. Why was Queen Sono cancelled? And I think this is a tragic story because Netflix initially renewed the show for a second season. However, in late 2020, they basically withdrew their renewal, citing production challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. And the creator, Kagiso Lediga, also noted that the story they had written spanned the entire continent and simply could not be executed during such trying times. Okay? And basically, beyond the pandemic, reports suggest that while the show had an audience, the ratings were not quite convincing enough for Netflix to push through the increased costs of producing another season. The show holds a 6.2 out of 10 score on IMDb, as well as a 68% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, with some international critics calling the performance inconsistent and the plotting uneven. So I want to talk about the critiques for a bit. So some reviewers felt that Pearl Thusi's performance was inconsistent and that she couldn't really translate some of the emotions that the script required of her to translate. And they felt like it was because of the inconsistencies, that it was unbelievable at certain moments and that at times her performance was wooden. I don't know what the critique meant by wooden, but yeah. And then there was also critique about some of the cast members as well, such as the character played by Sechaba Morijede, where people were saying that, with people feeling like his delivery was also not very convincing. And yeah, so for some people, especially the international audience, the way that characters are played is a deal breaker. If they feel like they are not really convinced, they don't give that much grace, for that. And also some people also had a bit of a trouble with the storyline. So episodes had a 40, give or take 40-minute runtime, with some going over 44 minutes and such. But we'll just average it out and say it's 40 minutes. And a lot of people felt like the story was not evenly paced, and that there wasn't enough meat in the story to carry it for 40 minutes, such that some people felt the 40 minutes felt too long, which is not something you want when you're watching a series. You want to feel the 40 minutes it went by 5 minutes. So that was another critique that people had. And I guess this reception of the show and these critiques were essentially what made Netflix feel like, we're not thoroughly convinced that this will perform well if we were to shoot a season 2. And comparing the fact that we have a budget, we're spending X amount on creating this show and we're moving around different countries in the continent. And so maybe we cannot, fund something that has lukewarm reception from fans. And I think at the time when it was supposed to be renewed for season 2, or just after it was announced that it was going to come back for season 2, I think the IMDb score was around 5.9, which is not really convincing. 5.9 out of 10, that is not convincing. That's a 50%. And no production wants to put a huge amount of money behind a production that has a score that it's not low, but that average. It doesn't really guarantee that they will receive a return on their investment. And so, yeah, let's move past the critiques and let's talk about the legacy of Queen Sono. So even with its cancellation, Queen Sono was a pioneer. It opened the doors for the world to see more African films on Netflix, such as Blood and Water, which is loved by people all over the world. Basically, people who watch Netflix, even internationally, and have watched Blood and Water actually love and enjoy the series. And I think that is a legacy of Queen Sono. So Queen Sono basically proved that there was a massive global appetite for made in South Africa stories. People were curious to see what are South Africans and Africans in general seeing or playing in their TVs, or what would an African-centered TV show be like. So it also showed that African productions could handle the high production values and complex narratives, that a lot of these shows have. Like, for instance, the shows always have multilingual narratives, and I think that that is one of the richness of Africa, the fact that we have so many languages, and the fact that we can come together, create a production, and utilize as many of those languages as we want, and it would still be something that translates to the audience, and it would still bring people together without making anyone feel excluded. And I think that that is the beauty of what Queen Sono introduced to the Netflix Africa category, of course. So the show, for instance, Queen Sono, featured 9 different languages, and those were not just South African languages. It included your Zulu, your Afrikaans, and other South African languages, but it also included Swahili, Swahili, as well as Shona. And the fact that a single show can have this many different languages, and including Russian, like some bit of Russian here and there. The fact that a show can have all these different international languages and still translate to people and have people relate to it or people want to watch it, I think that that is beautiful. So, and I think that it's something that we as Africans need to value a bit more. The fact that we don't have to slow our pacing down or remove our languages from the main screen in order to appeal to a global audience. So I think that that's a big shout out to Queen Sono for doing. And I remember even when I did the video on Tsotsi, that was one of the things that I commended the production for doing, the fact that it utilized as many South African languages as it could. And in doing that, a lot of people didn't feel excluded. Instead, everyone who watched Tsotsi could relate to some degree or found the movie or film very interesting. So to conclude, I think that the renaissance of African television paved the way for massive success of films, as I've mentioned, like Blood and Water, which not only secured multiple seasons on Netflix, but also garnered critical acclaim and numerous award nominations. Queen Sono may have been a flawed thriller, but it was a fresh and unapologetic effort that forever changed the landscape of global streaming. If you've reached this point and you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section down below and tell me what you think about this film. Did you like Queen Sono? Did you watch it? And what did you think about the critiques that people raised about things such as the acting of the cast and all of that? Like, would you want to bring Queen Sono back? Or would you want to have or see more films on Netflix that carry the same themes that I highlighted earlier on in this video, such as your neocolonialism, addressing corruption and all of that, and the legacy of apartheid? So please also do share this video with a friend if you care, and subscribe to my channel, and that will basically give me an indication that you like this type of videos and that you want me to continue to make these type of videos and analyze and review films that we should see as South Africans and we should support when we see being put out into the world. So without any further ado, let me just stop talking. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. For now, it's goodbye.